Welcome back, another Sharpen Up episode for lifting your anchor at 45 degree sailing here. My name's Nick. So I see a lot of people struggling to lift their anchor up. When I say struggling, I mean getting themselves into all sorts of trouble where they're driving over their anchor and the communication between the bow and the stern is just kind of all muddled up and there's more stress than there needs to be. So, simple thing when we're lifting anchor, and we're in 13 knots of wind right now. It's not a lot of wind. There is pressure on the anchor, of course, but not a massive amount. So we don't actually need to even drive on this. I'm going to show you that. So, first of all, engine on, and we put in neutral by, in this case, depressing this button. I don't want it in gear, but I do want the revs excited, the engine running and the revs excited, because this accelerates the alternator and charges the battery more while you're lifting the anchor. That's important because the anchor comes up on battery power. Let's go to the bow and we'll have a look at this.
Killed it, Nick.
I did.
Yeah, we're recording.
Amazing cinematography. And now we're here at the anchor. Okay. So first of all, if you've got the option to have your hatch open like this, if it's not flush mounted, open it, because otherwise you're going to cause damage to this hatch on these sections as the chain bounces and moves. Next thing is we're getting our anchor control out. All right, there we go. So we can see that the anchor's under quite a lot of tension. Now, no point do we want to strain the anchor capstan. Okay, so these little bits I'm doing now, there's no strain on it. It's just pulling a little bit more tension onto the anchor, and now it's pulling the bow around into the wind and moving us forward. No engine required. It just requires patience. All right, good to also have your rudder set to central so that when you're moving forward, it's not steering you in the wrong direction. Now, once we get a bit of momentum up like this, we've got a lot of chain out. I just keep topping it up. And it's now doing the job of driving us forward just with the momentum and the weight of the chain. So we just keep doing it like that. If you get into a position where the anchor capstan's straining like this, we've actually gained so much momentum, this is doing it perfect. There, okay, so that started to slow down and you could hear the engine strain a little bit. That's the point where you stop and let the boat settle back on the position of the anchor. But otherwise, you can just keep lifting. Right now, the angle's come off to the side because I broke my normal routine, and we're now laying over like this. This is more pressure on the boat from the wind because it's side onto the wind. We just wait until it straightens the bow back into the wind, the least amount of resistance on the yacht there, and then we can just slowly bring it up. We also don't want to be pulling up an anchor that's at a hard angle off to the side of the bowsprit. Okay, so now that it's getting a little bit closer, there was a little bit of strain there just as it gained its momentum again. There's a strain there as well because it's picking up on the weight of the chain. And remember, that engine's running on revolutions so that it's just continually charging the battery, giving it more help. Remember to watch your course if your anchor chain is piling up and it's going to head up into the capstan. Different models are different. And that's our 30-meter mark. And this is 15 knots of wind, 48-foot yacht, okay? And now we've just got momentum forward, but we're not driving over our anchor. We're not straining our capstan. There's that little bit of strain there, so I just stop and wait for the anchor chain, wait for the boat to catch up to it. Now that angle's out to starboard, I just wait for the bow to come over a little bit, and we just watch the chain as it drops down. Okay, do you want to bring the camera over to this angle and just look at the bow, and don't worry about me, just watching this and that. There's that little bit of strain. This is particularly good if you're doing stuff solo, okay? This is how I do it if I'm just patient, if I'm on my own. If I am on my own and it is strong like this, it's stronger wind and I can't do this without straining the engine, then you've got to start getting a bit creative with driving forward a little bit, walking up here quickly, lifting some chain, then going back, driving forward again when the weight's on. Now as it swings around to straight off the bow, I'm going to pull it a bit more. So we're almost at our 10-meter mark now. So I want to keep and we're in 9 meters of water, I want to keep my momentum of the boat going, because I'm going to start lifting the anchor off the ground now. And there's no longer going to be a hook into the seabed, and the boat's going to fall off on the wind. That's it. Anchor's now off the ground. You see immediately, if you look this way, we can see now we're falling off straight away. So if you are indeed in a tight anchorage or something like that, and we're drifting down into other boats or anything right now, then I would just get, and I don't have the time right now, I would just get to that point, I would go down to my helm and I would reverse into the wind, into my safe area, okay? Into my safe area, so I'm stopped, come up, finish the job. And you just do that as you need. But if you've got room to drift down here, we can just drift. Okay, last thing. Very important when you're pulling up your anchor that this last part is done really slowly, okay? Just with taps. Just small taps so that you don't have this violent lift to this point where it locks in. Then we're good. All right? That's lifting the anchor. Thank you very much for watching. Remember, if you're chartering a boat here in Croatia, we do bareboat charter, we do assistance, we do itinerary planning, we do everything sailing in Croatia. So get in touch with us at 45 Degrees Sailing. I'm going to help you out this season, next season, any season in Croatia.